For the Taliban, transition is traumatic. From guerrilla warfare a few weeks ago to policing queues for new passports just yesterday. The insurgents are in charge, but already in the throes of a counter-insurgency. In the last 3 weeks, ISK, the Afghan affiliate of so-called Islamic State, has claimed around 30 separate attacks. But theirs is a bloody campaign going back years. An attack on a hospital, for example, aimed at women and children. Straight through to the Kabul airport suicide attack aimed at everyone. So who are they and where do they come from?
ISK emerged in 2015 as an entity that had broken away from the Afghan Taliban. It was comprised of members that were opposed to the new leadership that had taken over in the aftermath of the death of the Taliban founder Mullah Omar, and comprised mostly of ethnic Pashtuns that were Afghan and Pakistani.
This was Hafiz Syed Khan swearing allegiance to Islamic State in 2015. His CV, ISK's first Emir. Previous experience, Pakistani Taliban from the tribal areas along the border. The US announced he'd been killed in an airstrike in 2016. ISK was born in the borderlands. The group's stronghold is in the provinces of Nangarhar and Kunar in the east of the country, sitting along the Pakistani border. Before the US withdrew, ISK leaders were regularly in American crosshairs. Attacks on their bases included the so-called mother of all bombs in 2017. So, who's in charge now and what do they want? One of the last known leaders, Aslam Faruqi, arrested by Afghan forces last year. His whereabouts now unknown. The name ISK comes from the Islamic State Khorasan province. Their stated aim is to reconstitute an ancient caliphate, Khorasan, covering Afghanistan, Pakistan, as well as parts of Central Asia, China, India and Iran. While they've adopted Islamic State's branding, tactics and strategies, they're very much of the Afghan-Pakistani borderlands, complete with the factionalism and competing interests you'd expect. So, what threat do they pose? At its height, ISK is thought to have had thousands of fighters in Afghanistan. Now, though, more in the hundreds. But recently, more and more attacks in Kabul itself, directed at the heart of the new Taliban regime. They consider the Taliban not hardline enough. Their attacks on them are not just about ideology, though. They're bloody attempts at asserting influence and concessions. So, what's their relationship to the Taliban?
There is this assumption that the Taliban and ISK are sworn enemies. It is true that to some degree they have fought against each other. But you also have to keep in mind that there are ethnic ties that actually connect the Taliban to ISK. One thing in particular is that the Haqqani network, a very important faction of the Taliban that now control the interior ministry of the Taliban in Afghanistan, have got very close ties with ISK.
Aside from the ideology, one of ISK's key ambitions, maintaining their narcotics and trafficking business. Their other ambition, exploiting the country's deadly instability.